Hello, dear folks. Greetings here. All right, welcome to the show, Jack Zhao on East West with GNE TV. Today we continue talking about the government shutdown because it's such a big shutdown that happens every 17 years so far. All right, that we know of, and has happened altogether 18 years in the past history of all the 238 years. I think so. Yeah. And it's was such a big thing that people talking about it, and they question from all kinds of directions. It was yesterday, last show, I had the chance to check with Mr. James Lee about his opinion. Of course, obviously he stands on the right-hand side, has his own strong opinions, and given the background, rich background of American politics that he was once in, being the spokesman for former President George H.W. Bush 41, and being the spokesman for former governor of California, Pete Wilson. And this is the guy who can see at least some pictures bigger than you and I can see. So today, I'm dragging myself down to among my friends, right? So among my friends, I have one figure named Ken Hemming. He is a CPA/author. For his book, for the few times during the past weeks, you know he's a guy, that indicates he's a guy of lots of thinking, lots of thoughts, and he has a heart, I would say a bigger heart. So for today, I invite him to come here to share his thought as an average American with a little financial background to talk about this government shutdown. First, number one, we'll find out the nature of the shutdown, and then we'll find out the issue of shutting down. Is that a political issue, partisan issue, or a financial issue, or economy issue, or any other kind? So we'll see how average people would think about this shutdown. All right. So first of all, Ken, I would say once again, welcome to my show.
I'm honored to be with you and your viewers, Jack.
All right.
Thank you.
And same here.
Thank
Okay.
you.
What's your overall comment about this president shutdown? We're in the third day of it.
Right. My overall comment would be that it is as much or more of a media opportunity to cover and perhaps make more important than it is, because in the past, the shutdowns, all of the people that are not getting paid now get retroactive pay, and I'm sure they will again now. And anybody that's lost jobs pretty much has maybe a 2-year unemployment thing, but I don't think many people will lose a permanent job because of it. And I think it's partisan politics. I come from the side of the American people. I am not on the side of Republicans or Democrats. I'm on the side of the American people that believe that the concept of a civil servant has been morphed into the concept of a self-servant.
A little insertion. If you say this 10 days later, 10 days earlier, I would not ask any questions.
Yes, sir.
But right now, we can clearly see even the American people are divided between the Republican side and the American side. You say you're from the American people's side.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense because they are divided anyway.
They are divided.
So I'm really, my question, next question is where you are on, where we are on.
Okay, I'm disappointed with both sides of Congress. Okay, I think I'm wearing black today to mourn the dysfunction of our elected representatives.
I see. I'm almost black.
Yeah, and that is from my heart. Okay, because they're failing to serve the people that elected them, and I think that's a tragedy. They have the opportunity to...
That is a tragedy, yes.
It's a tragedy. They have the opportunity to talk with each other and work something out. And shutdown is sort of a very strong word where it's sort of a partial shutdown. People will be paid for it. And then they gerrymandered which things are closed and which things are not closed.
Yes.
And so I think one of our difficulties is very many people, don't take the time to try to follow it and understand it because we have all got busy lives, okay? But I also believe that when you intermingle major national issues such as the Obamacare and the debt ceiling, when you intermingle those, I think that's a mistake. It makes no sense.
okay.
They're each significantly important to be addressed individually, in my opinion.
All right, all right. I'm very, very grateful to your analysis of the first, general picture of this shutting down. I feel very sad too because
very sad.
we're not supposed to do so as a country who earns the credit over all the rest of the folks, who give both thumbs up for our freedom, for our equality. And for our, freedom and equality means that you always have a chance to negotiate, right? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Now, why we give up negotiation? Why give up chance of contacting or communicating? And we just came to a conclusion. So, to go back from point to point, right? So, do you think, or did you think, at the time of the last moment, which means the afternoon towards midnight of 30th of September,
Yes.
anybody of two side, what they should do?
Oh, what I thought they should do, they should make some sort of a compromise and keep the government open. I think.
For example?
I do believe very seriously that if large business and congressional federal employees are getting subsidies on Obamacare, and large businesses are delayed for 1 year, individuals like you and me and all of our fellow citizens should have that same delay for 1 year. It's not balanced out. Okay, it's not balanced out, and I'm very upset. And hopefully it'll change that Congress and the staffers get a 75% subsidy for the cost of Obamacare. And they're the ones that voted it in with a promise that they would live within their own system.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts me.
But in dealing with the day-to-day problems, there are issues that gives you time to correct.
Yes.
Right? And there are issues, especially at a certain moment when you're in it, you have your first, second, third choices, which means priorities.
Yes.
Right. So at the moment you can prioritize your choices, but at the moments you can't.
Right.
At that moment, when you're facing like hours of difference, hours away, or even minutes away to the final closing down, though, do you think to acquiesce a little bit until next chance you push it up, just in order to prevent the shutdown, would be a smart thought?
Absolutely. I think ideology, whatever it is, left, right, up, down, has become too much composed of steel positions, rigid.
Sure.
And to serve the people, which you well pointed out, some are leaning this way, some are leaning that way, you have to serve them all if you're a civil servant and not serving yourself. And so to serve them all requires like making a stew where there are different components in there that please some and displease others, but that allow the government to govern. One thing that worries me is the whole world's looking at us, and we don't look that good anymore.
Yeah, in other words, at least on the right-hand side, they should have let it go for time being and look for a next chance to point it out, to bring it back. Knowingly, they will have to talk about it in midterm of October and early November for the budget issue anyway. Am I right?
I think that's fair and correct, but I think certain issues where some people get a year delay and others don't.
Yes, that's the other.
Sometimes you got to draw the line.
I'll come back for that.
Yeah,
I'll come back for that. Right now, let's talk one by one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about right-hand side first.
Yeah.
So, do you think they should have a better way if they did acquiesce a little bit from it, right? And they're looking for a next opportunity, which is October, which is November,
October
to point it
17th.
out. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Would that be a smart thought? The answer to my first question.
I think it would be a practical thought.
Yeah.
As you know, the book I
Practical
wrote,
and
it's
smart.
got practical in there.
Practical and under P.
Yeah, it's under P. You've got to be practical.
All right, we're back talking
and
the book
rigidity
again. No.
stubborn does not work, ever.
Sure. And back to my audience, my friend Ken Hemming is the author of a huge book, which I even get my hands involved. I love that book called Life is Simple, 100 Words to Live By. In the book, there are all representing words of English which are altogether no more than 100. If you grasp those words, you will live a better life. That's his opinion. Anyway, I agree to that. Just now he says the word practical, and that happens to be under P, so that's why we mentioned do not surprise you, all right, we hope.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, now, let's take a very short moment out, right? When we come back, we'll find out what if the people on the left-hand side did the same thing, or they took the same thought I think they should have done, and then to prevent next time, to prevent the shutdown, to look for a chance to talk into next time, right?
Right, yes.
All right, so let's take a short moment out. We come back, we will continue, of course. Stay with us.